Hey besties, and welcome back. So, y'all, today I have to talk to you about this. I don't know what to do. I watched the new Amy Went Missing documentary. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. It was so good. So I took some notes, stuff that stood out to me, stuff like that, and we just need to talk about it because I tried to talk about it with my husband and he was just like, okay, cool, whatever. He doesn't understand true crime at heart, okay? I know what it feels like. I need to talk about it. Okay? That's what we're gonna do today. Sorry if you hear my kids. My daughter likes to steal my 2-year-old's toys. Dad's out there, he can handle it. Okay. So let's start with the day she went missing. She went missing on March 24th, 1998, okay? A long time ago. I think I was 2 when this happened. 2? Yes, I was 2. So, from the documentary, we know the last time she checked into her room was at 3:40 a.m. Okay, 3:40. Which is fine, they're on vacation, you know? Party it up, I'm a night out, I get it. My thing is, okay, in my head, I was like, that's really weird that we only know the time that they get, like, they leave, but not when they enter. Or no, we don't know what time they leave, we just know what time they enter. But it makes sense, though, because you have to put your card in to enter. You have to do it when you leave. So, at first, I was confused, but now I kind of get it. I have my little handy-dandy notebook. I have a timeline written down and everything. So the timeline is that she went to dinner, and I thought was really fucking strange is, like, in the documentary, even her family was like, yeah, the wait staff was, like, really flirty. Like, they were flirting with her and all kinds of stuff, and that's really weird. If they were flirting enough for the family to notice it, that's weird, okay? That's weird. And then they went to the pool party, which started at 10. They said it was kind of like a pool party, and they stayed there until about 1. The parents said around 1 o'clock that they were tired, they went to bed, okay? They said goodnight. And then the brother and her went to the nightclub area because they didn't want to stop partying, which, I mean, get it, you know what I mean? But the brother said it was like 2 something, which I think it's 3 o'clock when he got home, because he said not even 5 minutes after that Amy came in, and they were talking on the balcony or whatever, smoking cigarettes, chilling, and she, like, told him, like, hey, the dude in the band, like, the bass player, I think, I'm not positive, I think the band was called, like, Blue Oyster or something. Look, I don't know, but I know the bass player, his name was Yellow. He was bald. I don't know, that's weird, but they call him Yellow. And he was making passes at her or something like that, which she didn't say it in, like, be worried. She kind of just been, like, just telling her brother, like, yeah, dude, like, dude was probably making passes, you know what I mean? Something like that. So the brother goes to bed, and then it says at 5:30-ish, the dad wakes up and is like, he looks over and he can see her feet on the chair, so he's like, okay, she's on the balcony, she's chill. He wakes up again at 6, and the girl's gone. And so he was like, I'll go find her, but he can't find her. Can't find her at all. So then he goes back to his wife, and he's like, hey, I can't find Amy anywhere. So, first of all, mama bear instincts, okay, I would have lost my shit. I don't care if you're 23 or 42, you're my child, okay? Like, let's be real. So, when they're, like, looking and stuff and they can't find her, the mom and the dad go to, like, the reception desk and is like, look, we can't find our daughter, like, you need to make a page or something. And so, like, the guy came down and he was like, we can't make a page because it's 7 o'clock and we don't want to disturb by other guests. That makes me so angry, okay? And in the documentary, it said perfectly, profit over people. And it really upsets me that that's how life still is today. Like, today it's probably worse, okay? I don't understand why they couldn't have been like, hey. But what the dude told her was like, go look for another hour, and if you can't find her, I'll make the announcement. So in the documentary, he does make the announcement, but it's already, you know what I mean? So then the mom is like, look, don't dock the boat. Can we just, don't let anybody off. Let's just look. And they wouldn't even do that. Like, if the person has answered the page, I feel like they should stop the boat from docking. But I mean, I can't, no, I don't understand it. Because if it was my child, I would understand it. No. If someone says like, hey, my daughter's on this ship somewhere, okay, she didn't jump off, she didn't fall off, like, she's on this boat, like, stop everything you're doing, go look. Well, of course they didn't do that. They let people off. And then they're like, okay, we'll search the boat. But they had like a crew of like 800, 900 people, and like every single person searched. But can we be for real right now? A boat that big, you're telling me that like it's supposed to be like each employee had their designated like sections. You're telling me they searched everywhere? Everywhere. Like, really? I don't think so. I don't think so. I know, we all know that one employee, okay? They don't do their job. I'm saying. But that makes no sense for her to be there anyway, because I mean, like, she got taken off the ship. And then the chief of police in, how do you pronounce it? Is it Carousel? I think. The chief of police in Carousel. The chief of police in Carousel even said if she jumped off the boat with the wind and the current and how the water is, she would come ashore. He said, I was born and raised here. I know this for a fact. Like, if she jumped off that ship, she will be here. And nothing. Which, I don't know about you, but to me that suggests maybe she didn't jump off the boat. But did they listen? No, they don't care. Here's where problems come into play, okay? Tell me why the room that Amy slept in, Amy was last seen in, was clean before the FBI got there. Please explain that to me. Like, it's one thing. No, it's not even one thing. Like, if someone says my daughter is missing, last person to see her, like, was her family, why are you going to clean? I feel like that's really irresponsible. I feel like that was, like, so irresponsible. It makes no sense to me. Like, why would you clean if you know the FBI is coming? Even if you don't know. This girl is missing, which means they're going to contact the police, which means the police are going to come over, and they're going to be looking. So, like, it should be common sense not to fucking clean their room anyway. Hello? And then there's this sus guy. Okay, there's this sus guy who was actually, like, in the room over from them. He says that he saw her that night, that she was, like, dancing and, like, all this stuff. And he was like, you know, I just went down there and watched them dance. You know, I like to look at girls. And he's like, I go to cruises alone by myself. So you go on cruises alone to look at women.
That's suspicious.
It's a little weird. It's a little sus, okay? That's a little weird. I'm just saying. And then there was this dude who, like, he has a camera crew or a camera guy, like, shooting for something. I don't know what he was shooting for. But he has, like, Amy on footage, like, dancing with Yellow. And as soon as he saw it, he got a call. And it was like, yeah, we're, like, head of security of the cruise, and, you know, we need all your footage that you have that night. And he was like, no. He was like, no, fuck you. Click. And thank God he was smart enough, but he gave all of those tapes to the FBI. Well, not all of the tapes. He gave the one where she was in to the FBI. And you can see her dancing with Yellow, okay? Which, in and itself, I don't know. You know, if you want to dance, dance. Like, it's no one's business, but Yellow's looking kind of sus, okay? Looking kind of sus. That's all I'm gonna say. So then we have this girl, Lori, who was like on the cruise with her friend, okay, and she was on the top deck. Okay, they were partying first, and then they went up to their room, and then they realized that they weren't tired, so then they went to like the top deck area at like 5:30, 5:15. Yeah, like 5:30ish, I think. And then she says that she saw Amy in yellow walking to the nightclub where there's a glass elevator. They both went up. 15 minutes went by, and only yellow came down. And he walked right past her, and she said that was weird because he'd been hitting on her all night. And then he sees her with her friend alone and doesn't say anything. That right there tells me everything I need to know. Because after that sighting, she has not been seen again on this ship. So I don't know about you, but when you think about it, I know a lot of people say like she jumped and that, you know, she leaped or whatever, and it's like not really. She got an apartment, she got a dog, she wrote a love letter to a ex that she wanted to rekindle with. That's not someone who wants to commit suicide, okay, at all. So when the FBI heard about Lori's story, they actually interviewed and gave Yellow a polygraph test. Yellow's real name is Alistair, but people call him Yellow, so we're just gonna call him Yellow. He took a polygraph test. His results were inconclusive, okay? Now, if you watch the Steve Wilkos show and they say inconclusive, people get pissed, okay? So do with that what you will. But I know polygraph tests aren't really, you know what I mean? My cat scared me. You know what I mean? The next eyewitness is from Port Marie, Carousel. Yes. And he says that he was at the washing station and he saw two men and a woman. It was men on the outside, woman in the middle, and they were walking towards him. And he said that the woman stepped towards him and acted like she was going to say something, and then the man next to her took a step forward and stared this man down, and then kind of motioned for her to go away, or kind of motioned, pulled, whatever, went away. He said that he wouldn't have remembered it if the dude didn't stare him down like he did. So that had to be like one vicious stare down, okay? I don't know. That just... And then we have another eyewitness from a taxi. He said it was just her. He said he'll never forget... Oh! The guy from Port Marie said that he saw the Tasmanian devil tattoo. But there was a guy... I don't know, it didn't say where, but he says he remembers her because he's a taxi driver, and he said that she came up to his taxi and like tapped on the window and asked him where the phones were, and he pointed at where the phones were, and she walked the opposite direction. He said he remembered her because of her big green eyes, which, I mean... And then you have this guy in like the Navy, and he went to... He said it was a bar with a hotel on top. It was a brothel, let's be real. He says he went there, and before he went in, there was a guy there with a gun. And he was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I just want to buy a beer. And he was like, okay, and let him in. He said 2 women sat down with him. One was Hispanic, and one was Caucasian. And he said when the Hispanic girl went to the bar to get a drink, Caucasian girl leaned in and said, my name is Amy Bradley. I'm being held against my will. I need $200. And he was like, oh, I've heard all these stories before, so I didn't think of it, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, really? You've heard people tell you, like, I need this much money because my life is at stake? I mean, maybe it's a real thing. Maybe I just don't know. But I don't think that's a real thing. Okay, let's be real. Let's be real. I don't think it's a real thing. It could be, though. It could be. There could just be chicks out here just wanting money like that, I guess. I don't know. So, before all of this went down, I think it was like the night of the dinner. The dinner, like when they had dinner and the waitstaff was being weird. She saw some dude looking at her, or Amy. She thinks it was Amy. So much that she was just like, do what? And then when she bent down to get her stuff and looked up, he was gone. So then when they went to get their pictures that she took of her brother and everything, pictures were gone. Like somebody bought them, pretended to be in her family and bought the pictures. That's weird, okay? That is sus. So they had to redo the pictures. But that's just weird. Can you imagine? Like you're on a cruise having fun and then you find out that all the pictures that you have taken with your family just like have been gone. They're gone. Here's where we enter like the most complicated part of this whole thing. So it's been 7 years since she's been missing now, okay? The parents have set up like this website, they get tips and all this stuff, and they get an email from an anonymous person who wants to stay anonymous, and it's pictures of this person, this woman, on a prostitution website in Barbados, and the parents are like, what? And so they give it to the FBI. Well, the FBI takes pictures from her, like, high school, like, right out of high school, and, like, every angle you could think of, and it turns out the FBI is like, that's Amy. The ears the same, the nose, the nostril size, the chin, the jawline, everything. It is the same person. And this person, this woman, in the photos were posed in such a way you cannot see her tattoos at all. That would crush me as a parent. Are you kidding me? You find out, like, first of all, I can't understand or grasp the concept of a child missing like that. I can't comprehend that. I can't. Thank you for your input. And then to, like, find out that this prostitute that you are seeing on this website is your daughter. Bruh, I can't. I cannot think of that. That is heartbreaking. That is, oh God. And then I think we come to, like, the final witness. This woman was in a bathroom. She was on a cruise and they stopped at Barbados. She went to the bathroom and she said while she was in the stall, she heard a woman come in and then a man behind her. And she kind of freaked out a little bit because a man in the woman's bathroom. And she heard this man tell the woman, the deal is at 11. Don't be late. Don't try to leave or whatever. Be prepared. And she was like, that was kind of weird. And then the guy, like, left the restroom. And then when she came out the bathroom, she wanted to check on the lady. She's like, are you okay? And the lady just shook her head. And she didn't say anything. And she was like, so what is your name? And the lady said, Amy Bradley, with a southern accent. And she said, okay, where are you from? And she mumbled, but she thought she heard West Virginia. Amy Bradley is from Chesterfield, Virginia. Okay? Now think about that. If someone's mumbling Chesterfield, Chest, West, you can probably get West Virginia. If she's mumbling, yeah. You know, I think so. And then she said, she's like, oh, I have, a daughter named Amy, and she's like your age. And then, like, she said that the girl kind of, like, took a couple steps towards her. And honestly, when I heard that, I wanted to cry, because, like, a part of me was like, was Amy thinking, like, is this my mom? Did she come back? Like, is she looking for me still? But I guess when she walked up on her and realized it wasn't her mom, she just kind of froze, and the girl left. But she also added that she heard the woman say, before she came out of the stall, she said, can we go see the children before we leave? And he said, yeah, if you don't try to leave or whatever. So then that makes you think, does she have children? Like, does Amy have children? And then people were like, one of the people who made this Anthony guy made a website that's like www.amyismissing.com, and he gets, like, all of the data and the IP addresses and stuff, and sends them to this computer guy, which I think is the guy who saw her the first time at the beach. And I could be wrong, but he sends them to a guy, and he can trace where, people are, where they're from, looking at the website. Tell me why there are a lot of hits from Barbados, and it'll tell them how long they were like resting on a post. I'm talking about 30 to 45 minutes, and the biggest days where it's the most popular is Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I think her name's Iva's birthday, which is her mom. Like, hello. They said it's either the people who took Amy trying to like stay updated about if they're gonna get caught or not, or if it is actually Amy. And people are like, if it's Amy, why doesn't she come forward? We have to think about it. Like, if she was really smuggled off this boat, cruise, whatever. If she was smuggled off the boat, they had to tell her something. What I personally think, I think she was targeted. I think that guy was looking at her. I think Yellow was looking at her. I think she was targeted. I think they went and got her pictures whenever they went to go get them and they weren't there. I think they got them for, to use against her. Because, I mean, if they hold up a picture and be like, dude, we're going to kill these people. If you try to escape, we're killing your family. I think they said that to her. So I think she cooperated. And I think they smuggled her off the cruise ship. They could have put her in a wig. They could have put her in something. They could have done anything to get her off. Okay, with you have like 24 to 3,000 people on that ship. Come on now. And then I mean, she might still be alive, She might. And maybe this documentary somehow reaches her. Who knows? But I honestly think that she was taken against her will and trafficked. Honestly, sadly. Because, I don't think she committed suicide. I don't think she fell off the ship. I 100 wholeheartedly believe she was taken off the ship and trafficked. She was targeted. They saw her. They wanted her. They took her. That's what her mom said, and that's exactly what happened. And I think she's not coming forward because maybe she has children that they've threatened to kill. Maybe they threatened her family. And maybe the only thing she can do is just look at them on the website. I believe. I don't know if she's still alive. I don't know. I would hope so. And I hope that they get reunited one day. But I believe that she's out there. And I believe... I'm going to stay optimistic and say that she's going to come back. She's going to reunite with her family. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. I'm telling you, it's going to be either her mom and dad, or it's just going to be just her brother. I think she's going to reunite. That's all I got today. Let's stay optimistic, stay hopeful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.